Welcome to Askdpros, where we talk to professionals, entrepreneurs, and the people making a difference around the globe. They tend to tell their stories, and hopefully, the story will motivate and inspire someone out there. As we know, your story is different, your story is unique. And you can only tell your story the best way you can. On this episode, I've got some guy. I must say it was difficult getting him. Very very busy guy. Very, 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 very busy guy. Emmanuel Ayoola. Welcome to Askdpros.
It's a pleasure to be here. We made it. We made it happen. We made it happen.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. After so many emails, calls back and forth, back and forth, back and
LinkedIn
forth.
posts, LinkedIn messages. But
Thank
the
God.
persistence is admirable.
Thank God for LinkedIn, man. Thank God for LinkedIn.
Honestly.
So, Emmanuel, to kick things off, how was Emmanuel growing up? What really influenced you, growing up?
That's a good one. What influenced me growing up? So I grew up, born and raised in London, born in Hackney, grew up in North London for the majority of my teens, still live in North London now. And what influenced me growing up? I mean, a range of things. I guess when I was very young, maybe like first 14 years of my life, influenced by the people around me that looked cool and had respect from the people that I knew and seemed like they were the people to be. And I just thought, well, I wanted to have esteem. I wanted to have a name for myself, and so I look at what people around me are doing, both positive, but some things negative. Like you look at things like sports and different things. I mean, everyone from like my school when I was younger, the only job we wanted to have in the future was to be a professional footballer. And I can tell you, most of us, including myself, didn't make it, But it was like that was some things like that, and other things were the things that we were aspiring to. And as I got older, maybe around like 16, so now 16 years old is when I personally became a Christian, as opposed to just kind of going with the flow from when I was younger, and that really shaped my view and my outlook on the purpose that I serve in the world, in terms of not just spending my time trying to grow my own brand, legacy, career, whatever, but really about how, I'm here to serve and here to make a difference in the lives of the people around me. And since then, my decisions and my career have always been shaped with that view of how can I enable people to be better after they've encountered me than they were before, and how can I support their growth and their development in the ways that I can with the skills that I've got. And I take a lot of pride in dedicating my time to doing that.
Okay, man, that's cool, man. Awesome. Born into a Nigerian family, you know how Nigerians are. how we Nigerian parents are. How Nigerian parents are, man. Like the education is like the first for them. Like growing in that environment. With you having Nigerian parents. How was education like? Take us a journey through your school days, early school days to your later school days in uni.
Yeah, that's So I don't know if I told you this before. So my background. So my dad is from Nigeria and Sierra Leone. So my
Okay.
dad's mom is from Sierra Leone and my mom
Oh.
is from Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got like a West African medley. But the one
Okay.
thing one of the things that stays the same is that education is just the key, like
Yeah.
from all ranges really. So it doesn't really make a difference in that
Yeah.
respect. But yeah, I guess, I mean, like as you said, obviously my parents came. So my mom was born here but grew up in Ghana. Dad born in Sierra Leone and raised in Nigeria and came to the UK. And they both came primarily to further their own journeys through education. Like both of my parents studied. My dad studied in Nigeria and came here to study as well. And so for them,
Okay.
making a move here to have a better life and to a better life for their kids, education was central to that. So naturally, from their perspectives, for me to do well for myself, investing in education was the key thing. And so they definitely. But you know what young people are like. Your parents tell you to go left, and you just want to go right. So getting
You
that,
can say
having
that again.
honestly. So as much as they would push and talk about studying and that kind of thing, it's weird because I just didn't have, like, I was really lazy. However, I think because if my mom said you're gonna revise between 4 and 5 every day, and I'm gonna sit here and make sure you do it, I could kiss my
Okay.
teeth, I can complain, but I'm still gonna do it. And because of, I guess, habits like that, I actually did pretty well in school. So GCSEs weren't that great because I was very lazy, didn't apply myself. My A levels, I got straight A's in my A levels. I did maths, chemistry, biology, and physics. So Nigerian parents' dream of A
I'm
level
telling you,
result.
man.
And then I went
You
to
gotta.
study chemical engineering. So it's like great. Engineer. It's one of the four things that they love for you to do: engineer, doctor, lawyer, accountant. So yes, I did engineering and got a 2-1 at University of Birmingham as well. It was funny when I decided that I wasn't going to do a master's in engineering. That raised some eyebrows. And when I decided that I wasn't even going to work in engineering, and now I work in a completely different field. I work in the charity sector at the moment.
Yep.
I mean, we do some work in STEM, so there's a link there, but it's a different
Like
field. Big
you
question.
you studying yeah you studying chemical engineering. What motivated you and what influenced that decision?
It's funny because I think for me the key thing was that I was good at maths and sciences and I had no idea what I wanted to do at uni. So I just did what I heard people with my degree or people with my A level subjects do to earn the most money. That was kind of it. Like that was kind of the thought. So it's like I didn't want to be a chemistry teacher because apparently if I did chemistry, all I could do was become a teacher or a researcher.
Okay.
Neither of those were interesting. I heard engineers make a lot of money, so I just kind of went into that, and I wasn't very intentional with my decision. And I think there's a lot of young people that make similar choices where limited information, limited knowledge of what's available, and go with the flow. And so many people end up not enjoying what they're doing, not doing something that's not really suited for their skill set, or something that completely takes them by surprise because they weren't prepared. It was kind of like that for me. So by the time I was in my second year, I I was so disengaged with my degree, so disengaged with it, and that's where I started to realize some of my other skills and talents and interests. But I think the difference, or what made the difference for me, is that I wasn't going to give up until I found what interested me. Like I wasn't satisfied just doing something that I found was a bit dry or boring. Like I wasn't going to give up until I found what is it that I think I'm good in, what interests me, what can I learn, and that was like that was how I dealt with being a bit bored on my degree. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. Now that you work with young people, and I know you just mentioned something about, you not making that informed decision in terms of what you wanted to study. How do you help young people to make that decision to let them know, okay, I'm good in art, I'm good in science, I'm good in technology, this is what I want to do. How do you make them realize, kind of say their gift, realize their gift and go for what they want to study?
hmm Yeah, so bit of context. I run a charity, so I'm a director of a charity called Generating Genius. So we run
Yep.
programs that support students from primarily African and Caribbean backgrounds to progress in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and maths from A level onto university. And at the moment we have around about 150 students on our programs, which will be doubling in September as well. I'm
Okay.
not the founder of the charity, but so the charity was founded about 15 years ago. So we've been around for a bit. And some of the key things that we have to do with the students we work with is largely around awareness of opportunity and showing them what's available in the with what's available within STEM, and also giving them the skills and the confidence that they need to progress through to top universities and into top careers. And those two are really essential. There's different ways to go about it, but if someone doesn't know what paths are available, then they're not gonna ever walk through the door. But also having the confidence, the know-how, the awareness, the knowledge around how to navigate through some of these universities and careers that usually are dominated by a majority group, and the people that have the connections or the friends or the aunties, the uncles, the mums and dads that are aware of the opportunities are the ones that get their feet through the door. But then if that's happening, it means there's a whole generation of people that are really talented and would be really perfectly fit for that opportunity.
Okay.
However, because they've not been privy to that area, because they've not had the confidence to say that I can and step forward, then we're missing out on all of those talented people, and they'll end up somewhere that might not be fulfilling their potential. So it's about, and we work with people that understand that and want to engage with talent, and want to engage with with the students that we work with. So we partner with universities. UCL and Leeds are two of our big partners this year, and with a range of companies, including Barclays and IP Group, a few engineering firms as well. A number of companies to that end. And for me, it's something that I'm super passionate about, because I see young people that were I was in their position a couple of years back. However, that a lot of them are much more intelligent than I was, and much more driven than I was, and yet they just don't know what's available. Confidence to say that I know I can be, and I know I can be a process engineer. I know I can be a clinical researcher. I know I can be, a variety of things, a computer scientist, data analyst, So yeah.
So if a young person now comes to meet you and say, Emmanuel, I'm struggling to make certain decisions regarding what I want to study, or my interest, what would you say to that young person?
I think about it in the way that I think about any journey. If you're about to make a journey, you get into your car, you use your sat nav. The first thing your sat nav needs to do is to locate where you are, and then you have to say where you want to get to, and then the sat nav gives you the directions to make that link from A to B. In a similar way, I guess you want to speak with people, have to find out firstly where they are, where are they at that stage of education or their career, what things are they interested in, what things naturally draw out excitement from them, and have a bit of a conversation about where they want to get to. Like, what kind of, are you thinking about being in a role, or are you thinking about being in a role that requires a lot of, data handling and maths and processing information, which is very different from a role that requires a lot of conversation and a lot of negotiating around particular projects, etc., of a wide variety of things, and then kind of work it through there. But of course, you can't sit. It's one thing to talk about these things, but it's another thing to actually do it. So a
Okay.
big part of our programs is like work experience and internships, so they can
Hmm.
go through those experiences themselves and see what works in a way that being in a company is completely different from hearing about it. So we kind of let the placements and let the work that we do speak for itself, and try and guide along the way.
Okay, cool, Manuel. Nice. I know heading an organization like what you're doing right now could be a huge task, and you have different. I guess you have different bodies to your organization. What does leadership mean to you in terms of getting everybody together and trying to be the person that leads your team, as a group. What does leadership mean to you?
Wait, leadership. That's a good question. There's a million courses online about leadership, man. It's a fine art. I think for me, leadership is very simply uniting people to a common vision and drawing out their talents to working together for that vision. I think there's so many different ways, so many different leadership styles. Like, I don't believe that there's one way to be a leader, or two ways to do leadership. If I think about some of the best leaders that I know, and how different their styles are, it's crazy. Like, you've got someone like Elon Musk, for example, who's the leader of Tesla and a whole range of things, and he's like one of the worst public speakers you'll ever see. Like, his communication is just not there. However, his vision and his ideas excite people. And
Yeah,
then you've
that's
got
true.
somebody like Barack Obama, who, like, this guy, any you give him a microphone
His
and you what he
delivery, his
says,
delivery, his delivery, his delivery is dead, man.
honest, honestly,
Kills it.
literally. But two leaders at the top of their game, and they do things differently. So for me, my personal leadership style is about drawing out people's ideas and then trying to hone them and fine tune them. So I'm always asking questions and picking out what people's, like, motivations are and what people's ideas are, and then seeing how can we steer this and how can we make it better, and then move forward. But I haven't got the energy to do the micromanagement. Like, I haven't I just can't do it. I haven't got the energy. But I enjoy talking with my team, and for one, like, I think vision and mission is really important. If there isn't really a mission that everyone's bought into, then you're not leading anyone anywhere. No one's going to move. But if there's a common vision and a common mission, then even if people have different personal goals, as long as they can buy into that, you can then draw out, what's going through their minds and their skill sets to further in that. And it's not easy because, people are different and dynamic, and you have to, like, I'm learning that leadership is about, as much as vision is important, leadership it primarily lives and dies on the people that you work with and how you work with them. Like, it's all
Okay.
about people. Like, how are you engaging with the people that are in your team? Are you aware of, their mood, their headspace, like how they're doing? You have to have an interest in the people you're working with. Otherwise, yeah, it's the car doesn't move.
Okay,
Car
cool,
doesn't
Emmanuel.
move.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, good. Very good answer. So, having said that, Emmanuel, how do you now manage your team?
How do I manage my team? What do you mean? Give me more. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like when I mean manage your team, do you directly, like task in terms of task performance? Do you have people under you that task distribution among the team members? Are you the sole guy that say, okay, do you know what, this month this is what we're gonna do, or you have someone that delegates those those tasks for you?
I see. I guess it depends on who you're dealing with and what stage you're at. So, for example, we're currently in a restructuring phase where we're looking at our programs and trying to streamline the way that we work and then scale up our programs. And so we're in the process where a lot of it is a lot of it is the program managers that are doing that brainstorming work, that are looking at things, reviewing things, and then I'm working with them to try and streamline that. So it's not in that case, or at the moment with some people, it's not very task orientated. It's more so big ideas. Whereas we've got other staff who are like coordinators, for example, who are there to deliver on certain like events or projects we do, and and with them, and also like if staff that are new in the team, so they'll need a bit more coaching and a bit more like hand holding with certain things to be able to deliver, and people's personalities come into it as well. So there's different there are different shapes and forms that it takes. I think I'm very big uh, on giving the individual the needs, meeting the individual with their needs, if that makes sense. Like I'm quite big on that, and so I would never interact with any two people the same as like my style when they adopt. I'm kind of learning my team as we go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So, what has been the most challenging thing in your job, or your industry as a whole?
Do you know what? It's the most challenging thing. I guess I say that two things that are probably equally as challenging. One is that you have to be an excellent strategist whilst also knowing that anything could happen that would just change all of your plans, and you just have to respond. Like life comes at you. Life comes at you, man. Like literally you can have the best plan and it all makes
Yeah.
sense, and then tomorrow somebody that you were relying on isn't you know isn't able to be a part of what you're doing anymore, or a big partnership that you expected was pretty much like over the line, just kind of changes for reasons out. Or even take now, for example, we've had a number of different events that we're not going to be able to do at this moment in time because of the recent coronavirus outbreak, right?
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like
true. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to get mad and start flipping tables because what can we do? But you just kind of have to respond. And then also kind of linked to that is bouncing back from failure and allowing yourself the space to fail and to learn from it, but not letting that failure hold you back.
Yeah.
There's a quote from Anthony Joshua. I never ever thought I'd be quoting Anthony Joshua, like, but it's
Why?
it's
Why?
amazing. It's just, I mean, he's a great boxer, but he's not the kind of guy that you think like inspirational quotes. But this quote is amazing. He said, "Never let success get to your head, and never let failure get to your heart."
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
I know
was
that quote as well. I know
I
the
was
quote. Yeah.
impressed. I thought Anthony, wow, that was impressive. So yeah,
He
that's
had
those
he
two.
had to he had to pull that out of the bag, man.
Yeah, for real. After that Ruiz loss, he had to come up with something good. He
I'm
made
telling
some.
you, man.
He made t-shirts out of it. So he started selling t-shirts with that on there, and I wouldn't
Oh,
have.
for real?
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah,
real?
yeah. Yeah, he
Wow.
made money from that loss. Literally, talk about turning your losses into wins.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's how life is. Like if you,
Mm,
it said there's this saying that goes like, out of every disappointment, comes a new direction.
mm,
So it's how you take that disappointment. You can beat yourself up, you can start crying about it, but if you get up and take that disappointment and make it, to a positive, like what Anto Joshua did now. He took that defeat, turned into a positive thing, and like you said, he started making money out of it.
literally, literally. And the key thing is that, that when we say things like that, it sounds like a cliche, but you really have to believe that it is true. And that's, one of the things I talk every day to young people that are really talented, and are going for really, like, we work with them to build up their confidence to go for some really top, top, like, positions and opportunities. So we had
Okay.
like a whole range of students that applied to study at Oxford and Cambridge this year. And as you can imagine, because it's so competitive, a lot of them didn't receive their offers. And so I'm there telling them, well, you have to believe, like, honestly, I can sit here and tell you that, one rejection doesn't define you. But unless you
Yeah.
believe that, it doesn't make a difference. Like, whatever I say doesn't matter if you don't believe that in yourself. And so when we say these things about failure and stuff, have to believe, you have to believe it. You have to.
Cool. It's true. Yeah, you just have to believe, man. That's just you just have to believe. Like people think, like if you probably have a bit of setback, and that's it.
Mm,
But it might just be a test. It might just be a test.
mm.
It might just be a test to find out how willing you'll be able to go.
Mm.
Because I remembered when I first sent you a message, you didn't reply for a while.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
No. I'm just trying to just draw this equation. You didn't reply for a while, but I didn't really get let that get to me. I said, what? I still believed. I said, what? This guy's going to get back to me. And really and truly, you did. No, it's true. That's true life example for you.
Well, I'm honored. I appreciate that you wanted me to come on in the first place. I definitely you always have to respect someone that wants you on their platform. Like, it means something. So
Yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
Good.
I
Yeah,
need,
good,
I
good.
mean, I need to, I'm getting better with my replies and my messaging, just generally. So yeah,
You're a very busy guy, Emmanuel. You're a very busy guy. Now, I haven't said that, Emmanuel. You just appointed one of the board of trustees for another organization, and you're also a director for Generating Genius. How do you manage that? How do you do that
yeah.
in terms of time management?
So board of directors of Volunteering Matters, massive organization. They, have about 20,000 volunteers on their books. Turnover of around like 6 million last year as well. So huge organization. I'm proud to be a part of now. New chief exec as well, who's doing some amazing things, like Paul Reddish. He's fantastic. And so there's that. There's Generating Genius. I also set up a not-for-profit in Sierra Leone, in my grandma's village, called Grace Sustains Africa. Freelance photography. I make YouTube videos also. So, like, yeah, a range of things. And I think that's, like, on the surface, it sounds like a good thing, but I'm realizing that if I'm giving, for one, if I'm giving like 20% to everything I do, nothing's getting the full 100. So I'm doing some internal auditing to look at where my time is being allocated. And I think I'm at a stage in my life. So I'm 23 right now, and I think I'm at a stage in my life where I'm happy to try things and then not hold back from the things that aren't working as much, or just stick to what's kind of working. So, I'm comfortable with things if I start things and don't see them to the end. But in terms of managing time, I think, I'm always on a constant improvement or constant learning process of how to do that better. For me, the thing that's really worked in these areas is having a great team that you can work with. Like, none of the things that I do by myself. None of them. Even as far as photography goes, I don't do all of that by myself. Like, I work with an assistant I worked with an assistant, sorry, and as I've kind of slowed that down, that's changed. But I, like, with my YouTube videos, I have a video editor. Obviously with the board, I'm a member of a large board, so there's about six, I think, 6 or 7 trustees. With Generating Genius, I'm trying to expand the team. Teams is everything. Teams is everything, because you will always go further in a good team than you can by yourself. And also, it's helpful because it means that what you're doing is not just about you. If you can work with other people, and like I really enjoy being able to being like as funny as it seems, like I really enjoy being able to pay people to do stuff because that lets me know that we're working together on something that is not just helping me, but it's also helping you, like
Yep, yep.
as someone that's involved in it. So, I'm always looking to build teams, and I think what I do lives and dies on that. And to anyone that was thinking about trying to juggle things, like you gotta have power teams. You gotta have people that you're going alongside in some capacity, you know, in some capacity. Yeah. So that's me. But then I mean, it's what I know you talked about it as well with the podcast because you've been grinding hard to pull off the podcast to get the videos
Yeah,
out. So many, so
absolutely, absolutely.
literally so many videos out there and stuff. You're managing the social media and everything. So I'm gonna throw that back to you. How do you manage it? Let's flip it. Let's ask the real pro.
Emmanuel, man, I can tell you, time management for me, it's like, it's crazy because, like, I got my 9 to 5.
Mm,
I got a family as well.
honestly.
And I also do my podcasting as well. So how do I manage my time? So I know that, when I'm at work, I'm at work.
Mm,
So I do all the work stuff. Then when I get home, I set aside about 2.5 hours for the family. Make sure everybody's good. Help the missus with the kids. Everybody goes to bed.
mm,
Then I now face my podcasting, which now I now probably start if it's to do videos or if it's to do editing.
mhm,
I do all that. Within the space of maybe from 10 to 12 midnight, sometimes 1 early
mhm,
morning. So I tend to prepare all my posts, all my videos, all my pictures, and setting time of the day, I just, during my break, I do a bit of posting because I already prepared everything,
yeah, yeah.
so if I don't lay my time my schedule that way, it's going to be very hard for me. Everything is just going to be everywhere. You understand? So right now, I to mention now, because Ask the Pros is talking to black entrepreneurs, professionals, making a difference, trying to change that narrative. How they see black people. Trying to
Yeah, yeah,
trying to
yeah.
make them know that we're doing great stuff. We're good. We can go to school. We
Mhm,
can manage teams. We can do better stuff as well. Not just seeing a black guy with a hoodie and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you just have that stereotypical mindset, and like you just thinking that this guy could be like a be like a gang member, or
Mhm, mhm.
those sort of stuff. So that's what Askdpros does. Now I'm thinking another journey again, which is Askdpros business. So
Mm,
Askdpros
mm,
Askdpros business, is talking to business people, people in business. You know, it's kind of like carved out of Askdpros because it's them telling us their business journey as well.
mhm.
In a way, help other businesses structure, help their structure as well. So like, for example, Emmanuel is a business owner. He comes
Yeah.
on Askdpros business. He tells us about his business, how he has managed to structure his business, and I know that other business owners could probably learn a thing or two from that,
Mhm.
you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's Askdpros and Askdpros business. Now there's another company which is Askdpros Media. So Askdpros Media
Wow.
how's
Okay.
it?
Okay. Cool.
So Askdpros Media will house Askdpros and Askdpros Business, which is the company that would be creating content for those two
Mhm.
platforms. So and I know you would say, oh my God, how you gonna do all that? But
The thing, all of this and kids. Me, I don't have any kids, so that's a big, that's a
but
big
but
thing.
with but with
Still. We have a
time,
family. Done.
yeah, yeah, but with time, hopefully, I'm gonna get people to I'm gonna put like a team together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get someone to like edit videos and edit audio, and try and do a whole range of stuff as well with Askdpros Media, because I intend going into digital marketing as well.
Mm.
Because I looked at the whole looked at the whole market and said, the I can produce a podcast now, but if I really want to help other businesses, apart from them coming into Ask the Pros business and talk about their business and stuff, I can take it further, create a commercial video for them, and also help them to market that video,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. and with that I can also charge for that as well.
Mhm.
So my very first aim with this is just to go with small businesses, like
Mhm. Mhm.
it could be the corner shop, or
Yeah.
like the bakery or the coffee shop, or just approach them and said, I can run a commercial for you, this is what I can do, that, and just try and buy them into the business as well. So,
Mhm.
Emmanuel,
That's
managing time, it's crazy,
honestly.
it's crazy. But I can't stop now. All I need to do now is just to keep pushing, just to
Mhm.
keep pushing,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
just to keep pushing. So,
Honest-
Emmanuel, back to you now. You sort of like put me on the spot now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes.
So what really motivates you to do more? I know helping young people is good. In terms of that, you try like giving back to them as well. Apart from that, what are the other things that motivate you as Emmanuel?
I really enjoy creating stuff. I see myself as like a builder and an enabler. I enjoy being in the trenches at the like in the startup phase, getting things off the ground, the planning, strategizing. Like I just really enjoy doing that and seeing ideas come to life. Like, really, really motivates me. And seeing change happen through my ideas really motivates me. And I think because I've seen how that's happened over time, and it's given me a lot of confidence to believe that I can, and if I continue growing, I can do more of that. Definitely. But I think ultimately, I mean, like my kind of um, longer term goal is to learn a lot about how to lead like organizations and build up people. I'm really interested in like in generate creating like passive income, and so I'm trying to think about some things on the side to do around that as well. And in a couple of years' time, I want to be able to just dedicate myself fully to like church work, like just like yeah, just working like with the church, like discipling people and like helping people and speaking life to people because I'm really I'm I know for me my biggest driving factor is my belief in Jesus as my Lord, and that has an impact on how I do my business and how I do like even things outside of that. But like that's what gets me excited. And so yeah, I see my life in three stages. First is learn, then earn, then return. So right now I'm just learning, just soaking
That's
up,
good.
learning before I'm then able to really kind of like earn for myself and hopefully a family as well. And then in that final chapter, once I'm good, hopefully, then be able to, even though I do so now to a certain extent, then fully be able to like give back and return and stuff. So yeah, just seeing I guess like I've learned a lot of that from the books I've read and the people that I've seen that are killing it in their fields. Honestly, I'm a product of the people that have spoken to me and the books that I've read and stuff. So sometimes you have to put yourself in the way of motivation if you're not motivated, you know?
Yeah, it's true, it's true, it's true, it's
Yeah.
true. I wouldn't say I love reading as much,
Mhm.
but listening to audio tape, it's good
Yeah.
because I drive quite a distance, so I
Yeah.
take it upon myself. Did you know, if I can't sit down and read a book, I could just listen to an audio
Yeah.
tape,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a lot of guys that listen to, and try and just build myself as Kes, try and
Mm.
just have that extra, because when you listen to those things, you also learn a lot of things from them as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
It guides you. It depends on who you listen to, and what you want to get. It guides you in terms of if it's relationship, if it's
Yeah.
like entrepreneurship, if it's business, if it work related, So they have a lot of guys that talk on different topics that can guide
Yeah.
you as a person, which is good. So, Emmanuel, you mentioned something about photography. You mentioned photography, just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, how did you come about? What was the love for photography?
That was funny. So photography, I stumbled into photography through stumbling into fashion. Believe it or not.
Oh,
Believe it
okay.
or not. Nah, it's funny. It's funny, people that like friends that know me, people that will see me will be thinking like Emmanuel in fashion. They don't they don't click. Like so I'm gonna put my hands up and say I'm not a guru, But when I was at
Okay.
university, I met a guy who had started a clothing line. And like I mentioned before, I'm really like I when I was at uni, I was intentional about finding out what I was interested in. And
Okay.
so I co-partnered with him to build the clothing line, and it was called Riari Apparel, which stands for Ripped and Rich. So
Okay.
we opened a store online, had about like 50,000 website views on like our first weekend, which was crazy. The website server crashed, which is when we realized how servers work and stuff. It was crazy. And eventually it got to a point where we were going back to London to have like photo shoots and stuff. And I said, so we studied at Birmingham, and I was like, well, why don't I just buy a camera and take pictures? How hard can it be? Now,
Okay.
photography is a lot more difficult than just buying a camera and taking pictures, which I learned
Absolutely.
over time.
Absolutely.
And it was actually through doing that I started enjoying like taking the pictures. And then I had friends that would be doing events and they would ask me to take pictures. At first, it wasn't paid, so it was just kind of like something I did, and I really enjoyed it. So I fell into it, really enjoyed it. You went on YouTube and was just learning more about taking pictures. Like the University of YouTube is amazing. The amount of education you can receive from YouTube is crazy.
Uh, I'm
Um,
telling you, man.
and yeah, then from there just bumped into it, met other photographers who recommended me for work and stuff, and yeah, it kind of took from there. So that's been I've been in photography for maybe 3 or 4 years now. Mainly events, weddings, and portrait photography is what I do. So Emmanuel Ayoola photography on emmanuelayola.com is a website where you can see my portfolio, and then social media
Okay.
Emmanuel Ayoola photography. Yeah.
Okay. So where do you plan to go with that?
Do you know what? If I'm honest, it's just something I do now for a bit of fun. Like I'm not really looking to. I mean, I've got aims in terms of the kind of I just want to do more of what I've been doing, like weddings, events, portraits, and just have it. It's at the moment it's a fun additional income stream. If I'm honest, it's not something that I'm looking to make huge. I'm not looking to travel the world doing photography. That's just yeah, it's a hobby that pays. So yeah,
That's good. It's
yeah.
cool, Emmanuel. Cool. So I always ask this question, on my podcast. I've asked a few number of my guests as well, So what would you tell your younger self?
I knew this was coming. When I tell, when I tell my younger self, I saw the videos, so not videos, the recordings. What would I tell my younger self? Do you know what I would say? Don't panic. You're doing okay. Just keep working hard and having fun. Yeah.
Good, 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 good. So what will be your last take on this for, so people that probably someone that probably listening and say probably looked at your journey as Emmanuel, and maybe say, oh my God, Emmanuel is this, is that, I want to follow that path as well. Or can say, I want to follow my own path as well. But what would be your last take for someone out there that is desperately looking for an answer? It could be career path, it could be
Yeah.
guidance. What would that, because you work with you work with a lot of young people anyway. So
Mhm,
I think you'll be able to give a thing or two out, for someone that is desperately looking for an answer.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd say there's things in life that you can control and there's things that you can't. But if you control the things you can and then, don't stress too much on the things you can't. And with me, one of the things, a decision I took very early on in my career was that I was going to put myself around people and in organizations that would provide the opportunities I wanted. So, for example, I've always been interested in entrepreneurship. So rather than going to work for a large company where I'd be a small fish in a big pond, I worked for a small to medium sized business where I could literally go and walk over to the accounts department and walk like and just pick my head over my desk, and then I could see, the sales support team, and I wanted to be around that. From there, I then went to an even smaller charity where I joined Generating Genius as head of corporate relations and as a program manager, and within a year was then able to progress it to a director role, and now I'm very very involved in a lot of the areas of the charity, from recruitment to strategy to partnerships, very very involved, and that's because I wanted to learn, and even the person that I decided to work with as well was someone that has quite a high profile in education and in that piece. So I controlled what I could control, and out of that, things that are outside of my control that have benefited me and that I've learnt from have come my way. So to young people, I'd say exactly the same. Like, control your environment and relax over the things you can't control, and just see what comes your way.
Yeah, Emmanuel, well said, well said. Very, very good answer. Emmanuel, sadly, we've come to the end of the road.
No.
Emmanuel, I saw this conversation has been great, man.
Yeah.
Bro, if someone's listening and they want to get in touch with Emmanuel, what would be what would be the best, could I say, social media platform? Because these days everybody just goes to LinkedIn or goes Instagram and just finds someone, Facebook. So what would be the best medium for them to contact you?
Yeah, do you know what? Contrary to what's been said about me, LinkedIn. Hit me up on contrary to that. To be honest, I think yeah. LinkedIn would be good because I'm on LinkedIn quite regularly now, especially like over the last couple of like weeks, I guess. So LinkedIn would be good. Emmanuel Ayoola, Emmanuel. I don't even need to spell it. It will be on the podcast. Yeah. Emmanuel Ayoola on LinkedIn. My Twitter and Instagram is exactly the same. Emmanuel Ayoola with an underscore. If anybody did want to connect on Facebook, it's there. But LinkedIn is the best way. More than happy to be in touch as well.
Okay, and for those of you listening, you want to get in touch with Askdpros, I'm on Instagram as well. It's Askdpros. So Emmanuel, it's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, for sure.
I can say I'm really proud of you as a young guy. You've done really well for yourself. And I wish you all the best in the future. And hopefully someday we'll sit down one-on-one and have for drinks. You never know.
Yeah, come to London. Come to London. Just I'm not sure if there's much happening there, but come to London.
People always say I live in the village, but
honestly.
Hello, Emmanuel. Thanks for the time, man. Yeah, I'm grateful, Emmanuel. 100%. Yeah.
No, thank you. All right, take care.
Okay, take care, man. Thanks. We'll talk. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, bye.